Hey, this is Learning Again with Truly Writer. Again, Truly Jacob, a writer, is my pen writing media name, so you probably won't see my face. So again, we're going to be going over ABCs to help you grow, big thoughts for little people. This is a Christian book. I do not know what denomination, but the publishing company Tyndale published it. So we're going to go through another letter and compare scripture with scripture. Last time we did the letter J. Again, I would have liked a audio thing where you have an audio and it actually teaches you how to pronounce the letters properly. But they don't have this. And then again, what is the letter J? Because J would be spelled J-A-Y. Shouldn't this letter have its own distinct pronunciation? In the way I was taught, it does not, so that makes me think something is wrong, drastically wrong with the way I was taught how to pronounce letters. So Philippians 4:4, always be full of joy in the Lord. And it wants you to compare the Living Bible, and this is a paraphrase Bible. So Philippians 4:4, always be full of joy in the Lord. I say it again, rejoice. Okay, so there was a little bit extra in that verse. So again, there could be a children's Bible, the Living Translation, or whatever. I forget what it's called right now. Okay, the Living Bible. There could be a one specifically that is for children. So today's letter is K, is for kindness. To Grandpa and Gram, be helpful to others, be sweet as a lamb. These children are visiting their grandparents and are being kind to them. Being kind means being friendly to people and helping them. Some people are mean and not kind at all. They want everything for themselves. They don't stop to think about what other people want. When they act that way, they are being unkind. But God wants us to help others and to be friendly to them. He wants us to be kind. So, have you ever been mean and unkind? Tell me about it. Well, like, I don't know, I got in fights with someone who calls himself my brother, and he bit me, and so I retaliated and bit him back in self-defense. But I didn't really understand why he was biting me as a toddler, So, I mean, I tried not to be mean, but I didn't like being bit because it hurt, and it seemed like pain didn't faze the person who called himself my brother. And then I've tried to love the people who call themselves my parents, and they've never acted like loving, kind parents to me. They never made sure I got a good education. They never made sure to guide me religiously into a good career. They're just like, do what I tell you to do. And then the person who calls themselves my mother, they complain about every little thing you do, even though you're trying your best to do your part around the house. Nothing's ever good enough because they expect you to be awake 24/7, even though you have a sleeping sickness where you have to sleep like 8 or over 8 hours a day. But this person doesn't seem to understand that I actually physically need sleep. My body demands it of me, and I don't know what's causing me to sleep, but they expect me to be awake 24/7 and be able to work 8, 10, 12 hours a day around the house and clean and organize when I don't have energy. So I do my best to be kind and respectful, but they don't respect anyone around them. They are negative like the majority of the time, and they complain about every little thing. And they're even on food tangents of like, you can't eat certain foods because I think it's bad for you. And then when you eat a food that they think is bad for you, then they complain that you ate it even though they believe it's bad for you. So they don't seem to have logic, reason, common sense, and like it just doesn't make any sense what they do. So like apparently I'm even mean when I don't even try to be. Because they have no logic and reason as far as, oh, this food is bad. Okay, you're willing to eat the bad food up. Go for it. You know, if they really believe it's bad, why do they want to eat the bad food too? If they really think it's bad. And this is plant-based, vegetarian meat stuff. So I'm really, really confused. But apparently I was so mean and a terrible person for eating vegetarian canned hot dogs. I'm so horrible for opening a can of vegetarian hot dogs, and the can only has 6 hot dogs in it, and I was so terrible of a person for opening a can and making a potato baked dish with celery and carrots and seasoning with these vegetarian hot dogs. Such a terrible person. So I'm so mean for opening a can of vegetarian hot dogs. So it was what I was in the mood to eat, and my body craves certain foods, but it's so terrible of me to try to do self-love. And, you know, if your body's craving nutrients, maybe there was something in that can of vegetarian hot dogs that my body was craving, because it's like, you need this nutrition. But it was so terrible of me, so mean and horrible for me to eat 3 hot dogs out of the can when it has a total of 6. Oh man, I'm such a terrible person. Anyways, tell about something you did to be kind to someone. Oh, well, last night I tried to help the same individual who calls themselves my mom and help her with her computer problem. And she was just complaining the whole entire time. I hate technology. Oh, it does, nothing ever works properly. Da 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 da. So even though I was trying to be kind and calm and polite, she just goes on and on and on and is super negative. And it was like, she claimed that because I was in the room in the beginning, that it was my fault that the computer wasn't working, and she called me the devil. And then she's like, oh yeah, in the end you did get the computer to work because you told me to restart the computer because, you know, for some reason the Wi-Fi wasn't showing up on the computer to be able to work. But it was just like, really? You try to help someone and they call you the devil. They call you the devil. Who knew that being kind to somebody would mean that someone's going to call you the devil and accuse you of being the devil? Does God want you to be kind or unkind? Well, if God exists, kind. If there is a creator, a designer that designed and created everybody in some way, then yes, I would say that would be the rule of a creator or a designer of real living beings. That, hey, that's how you get along, being kind to one another. Okay. You should practice tender-hearted mercy and kindness to others. Very hard to do. when everyone's negative around you, and even though you try your best to be positive and kind, they accuse you of being the devil or malicious and, not loving, not kind, or whatever. And you're like, what more can I do? Which stems the question, in today's society, do people actually really value someone being kind and loving? If someone is doing their very best with their energy level, with the diseases that they are facing, with all the problems that they're going through, and someone doesn't accept what they're able to do, and then they're like, oh, what you did wasn't good enough. What are you sending the message in society? You're sending the message, we don't really value true love and kindness. We don't value a community coming together and working together and helping each other out to the best of our ability. And so, it makes you feel like it's everyone really for their own self. So, and your best is never good enough. So that is why, realistically, I keep saying over and over and over again, and it may sound redundant, I really want to start at the age 0 as far as, hey, what are the proper sounds of the alphabet? What is the proper sound of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K? And then going down through the rest of the letters. What are the proper sounds in this language that we have? Because I don't know. I believe I was taught wrong. Because, again, if the letter K should be spelled K-A-Y. It should not just be K. It should have its own distinct sound. You should not be calling the letter K K. K, it sounds more like a K-A sound. So what is the distinct sound of K? I don't know, because I was never taught. So, people teaching you wrong from the very beginning, a whole society that is doing that, that's probably why the society is so negative, because they're so offended, like, oh, why is the society so negative and not positive and da-da-da-da-da? Because you didn't take the time to teach everyone from multiple generations the proper sounds of the letters. You thought you could be successful without having a distinct sound for the letter K. So we're going to try to find the ladybugs. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So far, I'm only getting 3. But it doesn't really... Okay, maybe 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's 4, actually. Or 5. Yeah, there's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. How many ladybugs did you find? So it just seems more like they're also like working together, visiting grandma and grandpa, having a tea party, all getting along. So that's cool. So I wish I lived in an environment, in a community where you could have real, genuine friends and they had your best interests at heart and you had their best interests at heart and you're all working together to make ends meet and to harvest food and to increase technology and make everything run smoothly and stuff last longer. That's the kind of community I want to live in. So, I mean, this picture kind of shows that, like, the grandchildren coming together, visiting their grandparents, and, and getting along. Um, so why can't we all have that kind of environment? Why can't we all have that in positive environment? Why can't we all genuinely love and care about each other? So, where is this type of environment? How to obtain it is the question, because I do seek kindness, I do seek love, and I do my best to be kind and loving, but it's really hard when you get in trouble just for eating something, like is someone gonna make a law one day? I'm sorry, it's against the law to eat food at all, but you need food to live and give you nutrients. You can't just survive off of air, so that's an unreasonable expectation. And then sometimes I try to make things, and then it's like I get in trouble for making food for everyone, like, oh, it didn't taste good enough. So it's like, well, none of the recipes actually work. So it's like no matter what cookbook I get, you have to tweak it because none of the recipes are actually to a standard of good tasting food. So maybe someone like sends me the messed up copy of all the cookbooks or something. So somehow that's what gets sent to me. I get the messed up cookbooks. I get the messed up tasting food. And so I'm just trying to make food taste good for the level I'm at, and I get in trouble for trying to make food taste good. And then trying to make bread doesn't work, but some people have a anti-bread cake. It's so bad for you because it has gluten in it. Maybe because you're speaking negativity over the bread and you're not speaking a blessing over your food and be like, bless this bread, bless this food that I'm about to eat. May there only be proper nutrition in the food and give all my cells the nutrition that my body needs to make me healthy. Maybe that's why the gluten or the bread is really bad for you, because you don't want to eat bread. Well, if you don't want to eat bread, that's fine, but don't go spreading your negativity to the rest of the world and be like, bread's bad for you. Maybe someone hates you and they spoke negativity over your food, and that's the reason why your bread gave you food poisoning. Or maybe you were eating something you weren't supposed to eat, like a living being that had eyeballs, like fish or seafood, and that's what really poisoned you. And you need to get that out of your diet and get rid of eating embryos from chicken eggs and go back to eating plant-based foods only. That means no living no living being that ever existed. But you're gonna blame the bread instead of seafood or flesh meat or eating an embryo. Gross, But hey, it is what it is. You're gonna do what you want. So if you want to eat your beloved seafood that has flesh meat in it, that is your freedom of choice. But if you become dead and get really, really sick, maybe you should look at what was plant-based, what wasn't, what had breast milk in it. You really want to eat or drink goat's breast milk or cow's breast milk in your food? Why are you declaring in chocolate and in all these different foods that there is breast milk, that there is chicken embryos in there, that it's good to eat flesh meat, a living being? That cannot be healthy for you if you think of yourself as a Christian. But hey, that's what these Bibles support, is eating flesh meat. So if you think it's good for you, Um, then I guess, where is the science to support that philosophy? That theory, okay? My body literally rejects breast milk and embryos and flesh meat. It refuses to let me like swallow even flesh meat and digest it at all. Like I will cough it up. That's how bad it is. And I did eat embryos for a time, chicken and embryos, and it was okay for a while. But then again, at the time, I wasn't fully understanding that that's what it really was. And so I became convicted. Yeah, I shouldn't harm a living organism or something that could have been a living being. So I rejected eating embryos. And then breast milk, it's like, well, really, that's designed for babies only. A baby is only going to eat breast milk. So, or drink breast milk. So, like, why would you want to continue to drink breast milk, whether it's from a cow or a goat or a buffalo? Why would you want to continue to put that in your food? Are you wanting to continue to be a baby as an adult? Is that why everyone's so negative? Because they can't give up breast milk? Because they want breast milk? They don't want to wean themselves off of it? I don't know. I'm just asking questions. How are we going to get this real kind, loving, safe environment where everyone gets along? What changes need to be made in society? How do you get a whole society to change and become positive and want to learn the correct way and pronounce the letters the proper way and learn how to do things properly and have a whole community working together, be like, I want you to be successful, I want you to be successful, and you're not really competing with each other anymore. You're like, what are you interested in learning? Like, these are the jobs that we need for this community to function. Who wants to learn this? Who wants to do this? Who wants to do this? Okay, you're bored with this job. Do you want to switch to something else? Okay, let's take turns. Like, how do you create this kind, loving community where everyone gets what they need and you can have fun and you can learn and you have a job and you work together and you actually care about each other and you come together and you're safe? I want to feel safe. I want to feel loved. I want to be a part of a group, but I don't know how to do that because no one includes me. So I feel like I'm alone, really, even though there are other people around me. It doesn't matter who's around me. I feel the majority of the time all alone. So, another side note is, yes, it is important to teach children, kids, teenagers to be kind and loving to other people. But I think as adults need to remember too that, we all need to be kind to one another. You just can't expect the children and the teenagers to be the only ones that are kind to everyone that's older than them. Adults need to be kind to other people too, and that means bosses of different organizations like the educational system, the governmental system, different jobs, the employers. We all need to be kind and respectful to one another, and because that's how you're going to work together as a team and be kind. But why doesn't society want to actually do something about it. That means you need every single person in your community to come together and be like, you know what, we're going to change our attitude. We're going to work together. We're going to accept each other for who we are. We're going to accept each other's differences. We may not always agree, but we're going to have conversations, and we have respectful conversations, and be like, okay, let's come together and work together. But you don't see communities doing that anymore, but they show it in the movies. They show it in the 1950s that communities cared about each other and were working together and seemed to really value each other and love each other genuinely. And it's like, well, why can't society go back to being like that? And Christians will tell you, well, we're waiting for the second coming of Christ. Well, if you don't know how to build that community here on earth, how do you expect it to automatically happen at the second coming if you don't know how to implement it here? That is my question for you. If you don't know how to be kind here, how are you gonna just all of a sudden be kind in heaven? I am agnostic, so I don't know if heaven's ever gonna come, but if you want a heaven environment, then society has to change, where you build that community where it's way more heavenly, where it becomes way more loving, and you get kindness, and where everyone treats each other with decency and respect, and where everyone's opinion, voice, viewpoints, ideas matter, and encouraging, growth and learning more and more in a proper way, because there must be a formula, or if you follow certain rules, then it brings more and more success into your life. So what are those rules? And I think one of those rules is, I'm sorry, but you have to speak all the letters of the alphabet properly. That means they have to have their own distinct sound, where K can't be K, K-A, or K, K-A-Y. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I am trying to be positive in spite of the negative environment that I am in. So right now, I feel like what I'm able to do is embrace the positive, try to dwell on the positive more. But sometimes you need to vent the negative to get it off your chest. And then it's like you release that negativity and you're like, okay, goodbye. And then you come back to being positive. But if you're doing your best to be positive and positive and positive and positive and positive, and then like someone keeps bringing that negativity into your life, it's like, because they don't care that you're doing the best that you can, they don't see it, they don't believe that you are for some reason, even though you've tried to tell them that. It's like, well, then you have to tell yourself, you have to love yourself. You are doing the best you can. Just keep doing the best that you can. Continue to be the most positive person that you can, in spite of being in a negative environment. So that's all I can do right now. So that's what I'm going to continue to do. So if you have listened to this video and you listened to this vent, thank you. I hope someone out there knows how to change villages and towns and cities and states and the federal government and different countries worldwide to be more positive and to increase the whole world to be a super positive, more positive environment where communities can come together and work together and really truly care about each other. So until next time.